This portion of the news is brought to you by the new Shell and Lede, designed for extra miles. A funeral service was held in the Church of God Auditorium on Joe Farrington Road today for the late Franklin Count Bernardino Ellis. Family, friends, well-wishers, and the entertainment community paid tribute to the well-known entertainer who leaves behind a rich legacy. Now, after exploring his musical talents in the United States, Count Bernardino returned to the Bahamas in the mid-50s. He played in well-known nightclubs of his era like the Cat and Fiddle, Silver Slipper, and the popular hotels of the day. He also traveled the world as a Bahamian musical ambassador. Following tributes, family and loved ones gathered at Woodlawn Gardens on Soldier Road, where the casket bearing the body of the 91-year-old entertainer was finally laid to rest. Well, there was standing room only at First Baptist Church in Coconut Grove this morning for the many people who attended the funeral service for the Progressive Liberal Party's first female trustee, Deaconess Berenice Doris Burrows. She was described as a homemaker, community builder, churchwoman, and political activist who truly believed in family, faith, community, and country. Among those paying respect was Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie and Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade. The burial was held at Lakeview Memorial Gardens on John F. Kennedy Drive. And family, friends, and a cross-section of the Junkanoo community assembled in Rosin Square last evening to attend a memorial service for Brian Baldy Gibson, who served on various levels in the Junkanoo community. Gibson spent about 5 decades in Junkanoo and has seen it grow to new heights. Among those reflecting on Gibson's impact to Junkanoo development was National Junkanoo Committee Chairman Willis Georgie Bethel and Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence Chairman Silbert Ferguson. Both men noted the Junkanoo community's huge loss. Mr. Ferguson remembered that as a Grand Marshal and former chairman of the National Junkanoo Committee, Gibson laid the foundation for the empowerment of Junkanoo.
His passion for Junkanoo was obvious, his work ethic exemplary, his commitment unquestioned. These qualities, as well as Brian's deep knowledge of Junkanoo parade dynamics, made him a logical choice to be appointed to the Independent Review Committee of the JCNP. Always willing to assist, Brian eagerly accepted our invitation and served on the Independent Review Committee for 1 year. Brian's outstanding contribution to the development of Junkanoo led to his being inducted into the Junkanoo Legends Circle and also received the Junkanoo Independence Achievement Award. Tonight, the Junkanoo Corporation New Providence Limited salutes this great champion of Junkanoo and thank God for his life and great example.
Brian was one of those persons who was always there, brought new ideas, was there in the tally room, and he did all when the time come for the scores be put forth, he was there at 9 o'clock or on the spot. He was known as the professor due to his study and insight in the culture of Junkanoo. He was an avid Junkanoo.
Now, Gibson, as you may recall, was also the voice of the annual Junkanoo results. Family friend Arlene Nash Ferguson and Gibson's son, Dwayne, reminisced on this aspect of his life.
He became an iconic figure whose voice was as well known as any politician in the Bahamas, and certainly no national announcement created more tension and arrested people's breathing more than Brian's announcement of the results. Persons even tried to find clues in the way he wiped the sweat off his head, and his announcements became a part of Junkanoo law that we will forever remember.
One of my most vivid memories of my father is watching him announce the results during the annual Junkanoo parades. I remember the enthusiasm and pure love that echoed in my father's voice as he talked about his beloved pastime, Junkanoo. This was not just a festival to my father, but rather it was a part of who he was. For years, my father, like most Junkanooers, would sacrifice time, sleep, and his hard-earned money to do what he loved to do.
In other news tonight, the Bahamas comprises of 700 islands and keys. They don't all have names, and we may never get a chance to visit them all. But our Charles Fisher was lucky enough to visit a piece of the rock that most people here in the Bahamas may never have heard of.
Located just off Auckland's and Crooked Island lies a quaint piece of land known as Long Key. It is 8 square miles long and its population 25 persons. Don Leeden was born on the island and still lives there.
Well, just fishing. Fishing, and that's basically it.
With 25 people, must be a pretty close, tight-knit community.
Oh, yes, it is. It's just like one family, really.
There are no paved roads. The main town is Albert Town, now largely a ghost town. At one time, more than 7,000 persons lived on the quay, which was a major transit area for large container ships.
That was back in the 1800s. My grandfather used to tell me about stories about those days. Yeah. But I guess people look for employment after the steamships stopped coming and everything else, and things just changed.
There is one school on the island comprising of, yes, 2 students. The island more of a historical site, Anglican church, one half historical, next part intact. Graveyard where lots of former sailors are buried as far back as the 18th century.
We have the old post office, which is dual. It was post office and magistrate courts and all that. And we have the old commissioner's residence. You know, this used to be actually the headquarters for the district. So people from Auckland and Crooked Island used to come here in order to, to get business done.
And on our stop, we were not the only visitors.
We often get tourists. We get a lot of boaters stop by. Also, we get the fishermen from Auckland's Crooked Island. So on any given day, we probably have about an extra 40, 50 people.
What is there to enjoy the island besides the tranquility?
Well, we have some lovely beaches. It's quiet, nature walks and all that. We have a lot of wildlife. We have goats and flamingos. So there's a lot to do if you like peace and quiet.
How would you recommend this to persons from the big city or from states, stuff like that?
Stress-free in Long Key, man.
Definitely stress-free in Long Key. I like that. For the ZNS News Network, I'm Charles Fisher.
Well, that does it for this portion of news. Stay tuned, though. Find out why officials believe fan support for the Summer of Thunder series was down. That's after the break.